Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. It's no longer news that the Afenifere spokesperson Yinka Odumakin has crossed over. He has passed on. And a lot of people are writing about him. A lot of people are talking about him. But one of the things that it's very obvious was that he was never in line with the political lifestyle of Bola Tinubu. Most people say that he was very, very ungrateful considering what Bola Tinubu had done for him and all of that. And right now, that is really, really trending. But shockingly, Bola Tinubu had to put up a write-up about the life of Yinka Odumakin, and that's what we want to look at right now. If we can see anything, pointing towards that direction and all of that. But before we continue with details of the news and further analysis, we'd like to encourage you to please subscribe to our channel by clicking on the red subscribe button and also the bell icon so that you can get notification anytime we publish our videos. All right, let's look at what Bola Tinubu, the APC leader, national leader, and also the former governor of Lagos State have to say about Yinka Odumakin. And I read this right off. He said, like millions of Nigerians, I received with profound shock the news of the death early this morning of Mr. Yinka Odumakin, spokesman of Afenifere, committed fighter for democracy, dedicated civil society activist, courageous and outspoken defender of whatever ideals and principles he believed in, and a patriotic citizen in every sense of the word. Ever since his student days, Odumakin had been fearless and unrelenting in speaking up in promoting the cause of justice and what he perceived as the best interest of the citizens of Nigeria. He participated actively at the forefront in the various student and youth struggle against successive military dictatorship in the 1980s and 1990s. In the process, he was arrested, harassed, and even detained several times, yet he never allowed himself to be succumbed to tyranny or be pressured into submissive and palliant silence. In the struggle against the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election and the perpetuation of military dictatorship, Odumakin was never found wanting. He was at the vanguard of the battle, even at the risk of his life and liberty. It is impossible to credibly tell the story of the emergence of democracy we enjoyed in this dispensation today without emblazoning Odumakin's name in gold. He was a doughty fighter for freedom and the rule of law. He was rock solid in his commitment to Afenifere, the Yoruba people, and several other civil society groups in which he played active role. Odumakin never held public office, but he has been a constant feature and part of our public consciousness over the last 2 decades of this unbroken democratic dispensation. He epitomized the true definition of a citizen, a patriot who was ever conscious of the fact that his life could not be complete or his humanity meaningless or meaningful if he did not take an active interest in and join like-minded fellow citizens in seeking always to promote the common goal of his community and country. In the course of the last 2.5 decades, Odumakin and I had cause to collaborate in various organizations and in pursuit of different political causes at different times, and I can testify to his capacity for hard work, his brilliance, his tenacity in his loyalty to his cherished principles. Even if we differ politically, I had no cause to doubt his sincerity in charting his chosen path. He will forever remain a model of what a citizen who places the good of his country above his personal interests could be. For given his talent and ability, Odumakin could easily have opted to focus on his personal welfare and that of his family rather than embroil himself in the several struggle of he dedicated his life to. It is certainly not fortuitous that his wife, the indefatigable Amazon Dr. Joe Odumakin was Yinka's comrade in struggle and active collaborator in fighting for justice, liberty, and dignity of the underprivileged. They were iconic soulmates in the ceaseless battle for a better and greater Nigeria. I join millions of Nigerians in condoling with Dr. Odumakin and her family in this sad hour. May God comfort and strengthen them even as they take solace in the massive outpouring of grief nationwide at Yinka's painful passage. I also express my heartfelt condolence to Chief Ayo Adebanjo, the Afenifere leader, and all other leaders and members of Afenifere, as well as all Yinka Shishis in the civil society movement. His life vividly demonstrated once again, in the immortal words of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, that it is not life that matters, but the courage you bring into it, and that it is not how long we live, but how well and productively that matters. Odumakin is gone, but he lives on in the memories of millions of his compatriots. May his soul rest in peace. Now, that was a write-up from the Jagabam talking about Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and it's quite interesting. You know, one of the things I respect about Bola Ahmed Tinubu is that he, at a time like this, you see him really, bringing up the negative features of the person. But you see the way he painted his words, and it looks overly interesting to many of his supporters. He said one of the things I took conscious of was the fact that he said, though we may share different political ideology, but that doesn't make him think less of his capacity, his brilliance, his intelligence, his forwardness, and all of that, and that is one thing about Odumakin. Odumakin won't stop talking until things get right, and he doesn't care whose ox is God. For him, he believes that the right thing must be done, justice must be dispensed, and the people must enjoy their fundamental human right at all times during the Buhari administration. He won't insult you, but he won't fail to bring before you your failures, the places you are lacking behind, how the people feel about you, and all of that. He will say it repeatedly. He doesn't, over times we've watched him on different television stations and all of that. He's quite a superb guy, and I want to use this opportunity to also say that he had touched my life and the lives of millions of Nigerians, and the kind of life he lived will not allow him to be deleted out of our minds swiftly. A lot of people will remember his great works and what he actually represents. Thumbs up back to Ahmed Tinubu, that's Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for this very matured write-up. I mean, I really want to celebrate him because this clearly shows that he is quite matured. No matter what, it has happened. You don't expect people to love everybody to love you. We, in as much as we say different political ideology, believe on different principles in this life, sure, at one point or the other, we may have a place where we hit ourselves, but then it doesn't mean that we have to underestimate the capacity of people. I like to leave it there. Looking at what Bola Ahmed Tinubu has written, what do you have to say? Let's